One thing I'm going to give this brother credit for is the fact that there are many people in the United States of America who went to school, did it the right way, went through all the levels, graduated, got that degree, and still could not market themselves into a position where they make over $150,000 per year. This brother right here, being illegal like the US authorities is saying that he is, being a criminal illegal like they're classifying him to be, with no legal status to be in the country, he marketed himself into a $300,000 per year job. As a matter of fact, I think his salary was about $342,000 per year. Hell, there are people out here with degrees who have been to college, who they and graduated, and they're making about $45,000 a year. It's a lot of police officers, law enforcement officials, and city officials who are making about $35,000 to $45,000 a year. He got himself a $300,000 and almost $50,000 per year job. I gotta give it up to him for that. Round of applause. But that might not be the thing you want to do. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My disclaimer: in no way am I encouraging illegal immigration or breaking of any laws. However, I do find humor in things that might not be funny to others. After all, what are we supposed to do? Cry all the time? Might as well laugh and move on. So, everything I just said, he's about to feel the backlash for it. The former Des Moines Superintendent, who was detained by ICE, is now federally charged. So this is not going to be a case of just, oh, you're going to be deported because you were illegal in the country. They are dropping federal charges on him, and he looks like he is heading for federal prison, federal time, before they toss him out of the United States of America. Wow. So let's get into the details. Previously on videos that we did, we talked about how ICE agents pull up to the school. They must have got a tip on him. Well, they did their homework and they came. And so happens that when they arrived at the school, he was outside in a parking lot as the story is being told. So he was exiting his car and he saw them approaching his vehicle. So he jumps back in the car and drives away. According to them, he did not drive for too long. I guess he said to himself, you know what? The jig is up. If I take them on a high-speed chase, anything else can happen. You know when you go on a high-speed chase and they like pit maneuver your car or something like that to try to get you to stop? So he thought about that really quickly. And then he went to the thing that he knows best, which is running. Don't forget, this is a top athlete that came to the United States of America because he was recruited from his island of Guyana as an athlete to represent a university in the United States of America. They gave him a 4-year scholarship, full ride, for in exchange for a 4-year degree, which is a bachelor's degree. It is proven up until a bachelor's degree, he is legitimate. He actually went to school in the US. He actually earned his associates and then went on to earn his bachelor's degree. Everything after that is up in the clouds and has been confirmed by the universities that he has put on his resume that he either did not attend that university at all or that he attended but did not graduate. One and the other. Now, here we are, past the story where he ran into the fields and he ran into the bushes and he hid, and the ICE agents called for the canines and the local police and they let them dogs go, kind of like running away from the plantation. And they set them dogs out there, the hounds. Get him, boy. And well, they got him and he's in custody. And a lot of people are saying, hey, he's going to be all right. He has a high degree. He has a lot of experience. he is going to be an asset to his country when he is sent back to Guyana. The American government said, not so fast. Not so fast, bud. You've been here for a while doing a whole bunch of wild shit, and we're going to have to penalize you for some of that before you go. As a matter of fact, I think they're about to make an example out of him before he leaves. I only hope that he has been stashing some of that money so that, you know, he has something to fall back on when he gets to Guyana. It's crazy to see people come to the United States of America. They get into a position where money is going through their hands, and they know that they are not straight in the US, yet they don't save anything and they don't invest anything back in their homelands. And when they are caught and they're deported, it's the saddest sight to see. Buju Banton actually sang a song back in the day that's called, where he said, things change. No one says life hard. Why you never send a penny come a yard? You're rich, you spend the whole night abroad. Squander your money now, you're living like dog. Boy get deport come down in a one pants. Broke and have no money but me no response. No abiding city, non pressure for me rants. And when him there foreign him did important. But him never did a look back, never did a glance. Never know him would have stumbled over a can avalanche. Mama down in the hole, and him don't buy her a lamp. Not a line, not a letter, nor a 50-cent stamp. Yo, anyways, shout out to Buju Banton for them lyrics there, because those lyrics are now proven to be true. I only hope that this brother right here, Dr. Ian, I hope this is not your case. But so, according to ABC News today, a new former school superintendent who was detained, a now former school superintendent who was detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, has been officially charged by federal prosecutors in Iowa with one count of being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm, according to court records. See, I told y'all that was going to get him. It's the same situation that's happening with Squash. Squash, if you don't know who that is, go look him up. That is a Jamaican dancehall entertainer, super popular artist, Squash. He is in the same debacle in the United States of America right now. In order to have that gun, you have to be a permanent resident or you have to be a citizen. This brother right here, Dr. Ian Roberts, is neither permanent resident nor citizen. He worked his way into being the superintendent of the largest school district of Iowa with a hefty annual paycheck of almost $350,000 per year. He was officially charged on Wednesday, according to case dockets. So he has been charged since Wednesday of last week. Today is October 7th of 2025. I'm bringing you the news because this is when it has been released to the public. So he appeared briefly for an initial appearance on Thursday afternoon, during which he waived his rights to a detention hearing and preliminary examination, according to the dockets. Waiving your rights in any way simply means, hey, just let the process go. I'm not fighting anything. I don't think he's going to even fight the immigration process. He's more like on the lines of send me home, I'm ready to go kind of thing. He's not going to be one of those people, obviously, who are fighting to stay in the United States of America and is coming up with stories that his life is in danger in Guyana. Hell, Guyana struck oil, gold, liquid gold, not too long ago. And there's a lot of money going around in Guyana, and their citizens are well taken care of now. So maybe he is looking forward and he is seeing where, hey, this is a mishap for him in the United States of America. But getting back to Guyana, he can now turn the page over from that chapter and start a new chapter. But before he does that, the courts ordered that he be detained, and he was advised that an immigration detainer has been lodged against him. What that means? That means that ICE, ERO, The people who are responsible for deporting you out of the US, they're standing on the sidelines, rubbing their hands and licking their lips like how Birdman was looking at Lil Wayne back in the day. In other words, they're waiting for you. And as soon as the courts are finished up doing what they have to do, they will be deporting you. If he is sentenced to time in a federal prison, they will then wait until after he has served at least half of his time. And then they will pull him out and send him back to his country. So Roberts was arrested. According to the docket, he had been in ICE detention at the Woodbury County Jail in Sioux City, though he has been taken into custody by the Department of Justice on a federal warrant for his arrest, according to Woodbury County Sheriff Chad Sheehan. Roberts is 54 years old. You know, I can't help but notice his picture, his most recent picture, like a week after his arrest, where all the grays are coming out. It's kind of like watching Diddy, right? P. Diddy and all the pictures that the artist drew, illustrated, because media was not allowed in the courtroom. And you notice how they drew Diddy with gray beard and gray hair. If you remember during the pandemic, Diddy kind of let his hair gray go out, show out. So everybody was like sporting their grays. And that's when people were like, damn, he actually has a full head of gray. Well, you could see the grays coming in for Ian Roberts right here as well at 54 years old. So you can't get a hold of any dye to dye your hair constantly when you are in federal custody, at least not for now. So he's looking pretty rough on these new pictures. Or maybe I should say he's looking pretty much his age now, because I guess the whole goal before this was to look younger. Everybody does it. It's nothing against him. So he's 54 years old, and he was initially detained by ICE agents last Friday. He was in possession of a loaded handgun. Y'all wait for this, because there's more about guns. Apparently, he is a gun lover. Or maybe he's just one of those people who never dropped his guard because he knows that he is a black man who is presumed in a certain light and is seen as somebody in a high position of authority. And, you know, in these places where your kind is outnumbered significantly, you might have them good old boys that come knocking on your door or kicking your door in the middle of the night. Or they might want to shoot it out on a back street somewhere in the cornfields. So you get the drift of what I'm saying. So apparently, he kept a gun around him at all times. He was in possession of a loaded handgun, a fixed blade hunting knife. That means that's a big old blade knife that doesn't fold up. It's just a knife sticking straight out. And he had $3,000 in cash. That's according to ICE agents. But it gets worse. The pistol that he had is now said to be, it was wrapped in a towel and it was placed under the driver's seat of his car. This is a car that was given to him by the city that he represents, by the school district. So this is a school vehicle, and this is one of the perks that comes with his job position. So while he's there having a gun in it, that too is illegal. Having a gun on school campus is illegal. Having a gun in a school registered vehicle is illegal. So he is a illegal immigrant with a gun, criminally charged before, in a position that makes even that illegal. All types of illegal stuff going on here. The record shows now that that gun was purchased in Arkansas from a federally licensed dealer by someone who is believed by authorities to be Mr. Roberts' spouse, according to the complaint. So he is married. During a search of his residence, because of course they went and knocked the door in of his house, and during a search of his residence on Friday, the complainant alleges law enforcement located a loaded pistol underneath the seat cushion of a chair in his living room. And then they also found a loaded rifle in a bedroom closet, and then they also found a shotgun behind the headboard in his bedroom. He had guns placed strategically all over his house. I think at some point he was paranoid. Like, somebody might be coming to get me out here. I mean, let's not act like we don't know the history of America and how things could go down if you're seen as a prominent black man in an area where it is predominantly not your kind, making over $300,000 a year. And yes, his salary is public and his job position was published to the public. So it wouldn't be hard to find out who he is, how much he's earning, what he does, and then look up or trail him to find out where he lives. So this brother was definitely preparing. Like the police said, at the school, in the car that they caught him in, which a car was registered to him, there was one gun wrapped in a towel under the driver's seat. When they got to his house and they searched it, they also found a loaded pistol underneath a chair cushion in his living room. They also found a loaded rifle in a bedroom closet and a shotgun behind the headboard of his bed as well. The 4 firearms were found to be manufactured outside of Iowa and therefore crossed state line before Roberts possessed them, is what the record says. Multiple magazines and lots of ammunitions were also located during the search of his residence. For those of you who are saying, damn, he's been in America for a long time, why didn't he just get married to somebody and try to straighten his papers out? A lot of people have this idea that it's that easy. I'm going to go to America. They're going to give me a little visa for 3 months or 2 months. I'm not going back home. I'm going to find somebody to marry and get my papers straight. That might work for some people, but that has become increasingly harder for a lot of people over the years. So ABC News said that they reached out to his attorney for comments, but the attorney who's representing him is not responding to any media. Roberts is a native of Guyana, entered the U.S. in 1999. Here's the facts. He entered the U.S. in 1999 on a student visa, and his student visa expired in 2004. By that time, he had earned a bachelor's degree and he had represented his school very well in athletics. He also went on to represent Guyana in the 2020 Olympics as well. He has no work authorization in the US. He has no work authorization in the US. Let me say it one more time. He has no work authorization in the US, and a judge issued a final order of removal for him in 2024, according to ICE. It is also said that he resigned as the superintendent of that school district on Tuesday of last week. He was allowed to resign. He was not fired. So, when you resign, your pension goes with your resignation, right? Okay. So there's a check there for him that he is going to be collecting. Now that we're going to have to discuss on a whole other video because I got to look up the technicalities of all of that. He was allowed to resign. He was not fired. Roberts actually joined that district in July of 2023 and had previously held leadership positions in school districts across the United States of America for 20 years. Okay, so now all the bells and whistles are off. Now I have questions because how the hell was he able to hold leadership positions in school districts across the United States of America for 20 years? The record shows that. This is the feds. They're looking into the paperwork. There is a trail of paperwork. According to the school board chair, Jackie Norris, they did their homework now, and his trail shows he has held leadership positions in the school district all across America for over 20 years. So when he came to the school is of no fault now that all this is coming out, because he was able to actually show a resume because he had actually worked in these places, contrary to what was said before. What was said before was that he had lied, that he had worked at all these other places, institutions, school districts in leadership positions, and they just did not bother to check. When the reality is, he has been getting over for many years, for over 2 decades. So there is a record. His resume looks real, because if he told you, oh, for the last 10 years, I was at X, Y, and Z school as their superintendent, and you go back and check with X, Y, and Z, they would have verified, yes, he was our superintendent for the last 2 years, and then he went over to XYZ for another 3 years. So yes, and he was a good supervisor, he was a good superintendent, and then they would have been happy to have you, right? So the school board in Iowa was not aware of his immigration issues at the time of his hiring, according to the head of that board. According to ICE, ICE says this is very serious, and they're trying to pretty much make it look like the school board was aware, but they hired him anyways. That is because ICE was trying to get into the schools in Iowa so that they can get at the students there who they believe to be from families who are not straight immigration wise in the United States of America, and start pulling them out of school and arresting students. If they arrest the children, then the parents will come try to get the children. They will arrest the parents too, only to find out the parents are illegal, and then they will deport the whole family. Well, Dr. Ian Roberts said no, they will have no access to our schools in Iowa. And this is one of the issues why the people are saying they went after him because of this. However, his thing is not too straight as well. So, wrong or right, they have one from him as well, according to the complaint. Now, for the people who said, why didn't he just apply for citizenship or get married and adjust his status? This is what has come out as well. According to the paperwork, he applied with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, for permanent residency 4 times. Once in 2001, and he was rejected, and then he applied 3 more times after that, and he was denied again. The only thing I see here that makes no damn sense, he applied for citizenship in 2001, he was rejected. He did not apply for citizenship again until 2018. And in 2018, he applied 3 times in 1 year. Now, that's not brilliant at all. Why didn't you try again in 2004, and 2009, and 2010, and 2014, and then 2018, or something like that? Spread it out. He tried 3 times in 1 year. Who does that? So he also applied in 2018 for an adjustment of status based on his marriage to a U.S. citizen. That was also denied. Here's the thing. You can't just apply for U.S. citizenship off the bat when you have no green card. You can't go from a visitor on a visa that has expired to citizenship. You would have thought that somebody like him, as smart as he is, would have known that, right? No. Well, after 2018 came around and he was denied 4 times for applying for citizenship, I gotta laugh. This is funny. He now decided, okay, let me apply for an adjustment of status based on marriage to a U.S. citizen. That too was denied in 2020 because he failed to respond to a request for additional information. It's not even like they wouldn't have given it to him. It's like he probably was running around doing so many different things that it slipped by him. All they wanted was a response from him requesting additional information. All the people who have been married and applied for an adjustment of status based on your marriage, you know the things that they ask for, right? Your marriage certificate, some information on your spouse. They're trying to see if your marriage is legitimate, all that other stuff. He did not respond. He just applied. So it took them 2 years, and they came back after 2 years. He applied in 2018, which is the first thing he should have applied for, was an adjustment of status, not citizenship. So he applies for adjustment of status after applying for citizenship 4 damn times and gotten rejected. And then he did not respond. And then, of course, because he didn't respond, they shot that down as well in 2020. And then in 2020 is when he was also caught with a gun. Remember the story about him going hunting with the rifle, and the rifle was placed loaded on the back seat of his car, and he got pulled over by a police officer / game warden, and they saw the rifle, and he's not supposed to have the rifle loaded on the back seat of his car, even though he could have had one. Then they found out that that was his first charge on a gun charge, which was listed as a misdemeanor, by the way. And then that went to court. And that is where his troubles started in 2020, right after he had been rejected for not applying or not answering to the immigration authorities about his adjustment of status. So with that said, Roberts had not had any lawful employment authorization since December of 2020, according to the complaint. This makes me think that he always had legal authorization, because it says that he has not had lawful authorization for employment in the U.S. since December of 2020. If he's been here since 1999, somewhere along the line, he got legal authorization to work. And apparently that all expired in 2020. So he wasn't always illegal, but he was always lying about where he got his degrees, like his PhD and his master's degree. He was ordered removed from the United States of America in May of 2022. In a hearing he was not present for. They just brought the order down. And an immigration judge denied his motion to reopen the immigration proceedings in April, finding that Roberts had failed to demonstrate that he did not receive the notice of the 2024 hearing. So just recently, in April of 2025, he knew they were coming for him, because he actually put in paperwork to have his case reopened again, stating that he did not receive notification before, and a judge denied it. Roberts resigned as superintendent one day after the Iowa Board of Education examiners said that they revoked his administrator's license, and the Des Moines School Board voted unanimously to put him on unpaid administrative leave and to provide proof that he is authorized to work in the U.S. or he would face termination. Well, he was not able to provide proof that he was legally supposed to be working, but he was allowed to resign instead of terminated or fired. He did not provide the board with that information naturally. They went on to say that for all of us, this is what we anticipated when we welcomed. This is not what we anticipated when we welcomed Dr. Ian Roberts into central Iowa and into our school district a little more than 2 years ago. This is sad and it's troubling for an individual who gave many people here, especially the children, a lot of hope. The board voted if they would accept, y'all got to hear this part. The board voted if they would accept his resignation or if they would reject his resignation. If they rejected his resignation, then that means they would terminate him and nothing follows. the board actually voted to accept his resignation, which means he will collect a pension. Wow. I want to know what the hell is a pension amount on a 340 something thousand dollars per year salary. Either way, he's going to be good. Local leaders owe parents an explanation, is what one of the law enforcement officials said. We need stronger safeguards to ensure that positions of public trust are filled by individuals who are properly vetted and legally authorized to serve, he also said. Now, 1 month after starting his job as superintendent, he was served with a restraining order, according to the sheriff's department in Polk County, Iowa. Now, you see, there's so many stuff that's happening. 4 guns found, gun on school campus, immigration status out of check. 2020 was the last time he had legal authorization to work. These are a bunch of things I'm naming off to you. Restraining order served against him. According to new paperwork, 1 month after he actually started as superintendent, a restraining order was placed against him, according to the sheriff department in Polk County, Iowa, which served notice of the order to Roberts at his office in August of 2023. So he knows about it. What is the reason for the restraining order, you might ask? The restraining order was issued by a court in Jackson County, Missouri, and the identity of the person who was requesting it is not known. A spokesperson for Polk County Sheriff's Office confirmed service of that restraining order, but told ABC News that he could not elaborate because the court records are sealed. I'm wondering if that was his wife. Is that the snow bunny woman that he married, that they got into odds ends falling out and she placed a restraining order on him? Now you could understand why his adjustment of status might have been rejected, because it was around this same time that they were considering his adjustment of status. Damn. And the record is sealed, so they can't talk about it or mention the person's name. A spokesperson for the Polk County Sheriff's Office confirmed that this restraining order was served, but said they can't talk about the person who served it. A spokesperson for the public school district told the Register, which first reported on the restraining order, that the school board was actually not aware of the order, because he did not make the school board aware of the order. He is the superintendent. He is the head honcho. So if he gets it, it's easy for him to sweep it under the rug, not let anybody know, so it doesn't affect his job. So following his detainment by ICE, state election officials in Maryland said that a man whose name matches that of Roberts was registered to vote in the state, but they say that there's no record of him ever casting a ballot. So for the people who said, oh, he's illegal and he has been voting, I bet he was voting Democrat and all that, there is no record of him ever voting. A person matching his name, however, also his birth date and his address were registered in 2017, according to Maryland Vote Registration Database, but there is no record of that person ever voting. The Election Board of Maryland declined to confirm that the registered voter is, in fact, the superintendent in a statement that was released this week. The board noted that in a statement that individuals are actually prohibited from securing voter registration unlawfully, but they outlined a scenario in which an ineligible voter could be unintentionally registered to vote through a automatic voter registration agency, such as state's motor vehicle agency. So it is not necessarily that he purposely registered himself to vote. He might have been registered to vote automatically by a system. Republican members of the Maryland House of Delegates have since pressed election board on how someone ineligible to vote could be unintentionally registered. Why would you all register him? Now, the blame is off him because he never registered himself to vote, is what it seems. They registered him to vote. Our concerns is that this has been done once, but why can't it be done twice and maybe many, many, many more times, says GOP Maryland State Delegate Matt Morgan, the chair of the Freedom Caucus. In a news interview, he said, "My biggest concern is how many other people there are like him who have been automatically registered to vote, and some of them are probably have been voting." Roberts has never voted. So that's out the way. Roberts' resume also comes under scrutiny regarding portions of his educational history involving 3 universities that appear to be inflated or false, which we went over in our previous video because they did release the information saying that we don't know this guy from one of them. A spokesperson for MIT Sloan School Management said that in a statement that they have absolutely no record of Roberts ever attending their master's degree program 2019 to 2021, as Roberts claims that he did. A spokesperson for George Washington University said the school never gave him a Principal of the Year award, which is on his resume in 2013, as was stated, since removed superintendent biography on his public school website. GWU, in fact, does not even issue such an award, is what they said. So he actually put on his resume that he was given Principal of the Year award. And that school district says they don't even have such an award. And he has never worked for them. ABC News reached out to the school for comments. And this is what they said. On Wednesday, the school board addressed speculations regarding Roberts' resume regarding Morgan State University. According to the board and school board, Roberts initially provided a resume to a consulting group in which he claimed that he had a doctorate from that university. But during a background check, it was flagged, and he hadn't completed the degree. He went into the program, but he never completed the degree. The resume was revised to note that the degree was not completed, and that board member had the revised resume when they interviewed finalists for the superintendent position. The board was aware that Dr. Roberts did not graduate from Morgan State University at the time of his hiring, is what the board said. Wow. So they knew that he attended Morgan State. They knew that he had not graduated. He had went well into the doctorate program, but he did not graduate. I want to be clear. In a world of misinformation and disinformation, speculation becomes narrative and blame is rampant, is what Norris said in a statement. The Des Moines School Board is also a victim of deception by Dr. Roberts. How are y'all a victim of deception if y'all were aware that he didn't have a PhD? He went to the school, but he never graduated. And y'all still hired him. Maybe they were looking at the paperwork. This is a human error, right? That went a long way. They were impressed by who was sitting before them, that they just skipped through the pages of his resume and they really didn't pay attention to where it said he attended but did not graduate. You know when you read half of a sentence and the sentence says he attended, and you're like, oh, damn, he really did attend. Okay, skip, next page. Should have read the whole sentence. It said he attended, but he attended but did not graduate. Wow. Therefore, the degree was not awarded to him. Shit. So now it looks bad on the Des Moines School District for hiring him. The Des Moines School Board is also a victim of deception by Dr. Roberts. One on a growing list that includes our students and our teachers and our parents and our community and our elected officials and Iowa's Board of Education examiners and others. He has deceived us all. Yet, the school board voted to accept his resignation. I'll be staying close to this story because I want to see when they take him to court for an illegal being in possession of a firearm, what the outcome is going to be. Will they sentence him to time in a federal institution, or will he be allowed to self-deport and get up out of the United States of America, therefore skipping the prison sentence? We'll see. Stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.